Morning Discord, morning YouTube. Let's get into it. Okay, opening candle. We see we're touching the 5 already. So let's see if we break this 5, retest it, and reject off of it for some upside, or we're gonna look for some downside if we get some continuation. So we see our, all right, we see that our liquidity box is right here. So now we need to see if we're gonna go this way or this way from the liquidity box. All right, now let's see. I'm just gonna clean this up just a little bit. A little too much going on this early in the morning. Let's look out for this, and this. So we'll see if we get underneath this for that. Otherwise, we're looking for this. Not a lot of movement, just be patient. Let's let the market figure out what it wants to do. All right, we'll put our pink. We'll make these our pink range for right now. So we're gonna look for longs above pink, shorts below pink. Right, so if pink is our box, if pink is our box, right, then we wanna break out of pink, retest, and reject. Same thing on the other side. So let's see if the target's gonna be top of pink. Let's see if this pink is going to be our target inside of this magenta. Okay, so let's see if the target's going to be pink for right now. We got a really strong buying channel that just started, so let's look for the retest and reject off of pink. All right. So in the Discord, okay. So the Discord sees that. There's a little more profit on that. So now my trade's protected. I'm just gonna trade's protected. Just gonna let it run. Oh, I've been talking. I did give a heads up. I said it's gonna hit the pink. Remember I said let's see if it hits the pink. If we break the 5, that's exactly what happened. We broke the 5. I'm gonna look for the break, retest, reject of the 5 to the pink. Remember? Well, I don't know if you remember, but I'm pretty sure I said everything. This is what I'm talking about. You can't hesitate. Eventually you'll get there. If you didn't take a trade, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to build your own comfort level. You can't trade off of my comfort level. I can only show you what the risks are. It's up to you if you decide you want to take the risk or not. All right, now let's see if we continue this bull cycle on the MACD, or if we start a maybe a weak bear cycle. But let's see if we break, retest, and reject off the 5. We're on the 5 right now. Just be patient. So what I didn't. I'll post here. I'll post it. I'm still holding this trade. I'm holding it. I'm gonna hold it for a little bit. I want to get above this pink. So when I saw these candles, you better believe I was like, oh no. But I knew where my stop had to be, underneath the 5. So my stop's underneath the 5. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But I didn't hesitate. I got in at the 5, so I was able to survive this. Let's see what I can get. Now we gotta hope for a weak bear cycle here. Or hopefully we never even start the bear cycle. Just be patient if we're inside of pink. No reason to risk anything inside of pink. Inside the pink range. Just be patient. I'm probably going to move out of break even, and I'll take a little bit off the table just so I can cover my fees if it doesn't work out. But either way, the trade's protected. I can't lose. So let's hope for the best. Let's hope we keep rejecting off of the 5 and head up towards that pink. Look, we're still inside the magenta, right? Still inside magenta. So I'm going to start using magenta as my stop loss. Now magenta is going to be my stop loss. So whenever this breaks magenta, then I'll be out. There we go. There we go. Right? So my stop was underneath the 5. So now we're just allowing the market to give us the money. We knew where the money was. We just had to wait until and then see how much we get out of this. Let's see. Let's see. All right, here we go. There we go. Okay, beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. There we go. I'm going to show the Discord that I'm still holding this trade. Still holding it. I'm gonna wait for this magenta, or if I see candles I don't like, then I might tighten it up. But I'm still along this magenta. Okay, got a little something out of it. Got a little something. Let's see what we got next. Oh, it's still building. Give it a second, I might get back in. Okay. We gotta hope for a weak bear cycle here for it to continue. This candle stopped me out before I even had a chance to even move it lower, so I was able to take a little bit more profit than I expected. But let's see what happens now if we get this weak bear cycle to jump back in on a call. Let's see if this crosses while it's still above the 0 line, preferably above this pink as well. Just be patient. Wait for this pink range here to break. Let's see if we get this weak bear cycle. Okay. So we see we're building up a liquidity box between the 5 and this pink. So now we want to see microstructure. That's going to tell us if we're going up or going down. The microstructure needs to look like maybe a cup and handle, something like that. For continuation up, right? Or maybe we'll see a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder form like this. So be patient while we're in this pink range, or else you're gonna get chopped up like I did, kinda. I think we might need to guide off of purple. We'll see. I'm interested to see what happens if we test this purple again, if we bounce off the purple. I'll be interested to see that. But purple might be our down for the day, so we're going to test to see if purple is going to be the down. I'll put it at level 2. And we'll give blue a 2 as well. The only reason it's a 2 is because the risk to reward if it breaks blue to pink is so small. So the break of blue to pink is, you know, the risk to reward is small right there. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we get this. Here, let me clean it up real quick. You can see a little bit better. Can everyone hear me? Let me make sure everyone can hear me. Everyone's still here listening? All right. We want to look to see if we have that shoulder right here, another head, and then let's see if we form another shoulder like this. All right, cool. And remember, this break of this blue, the risk to reward is thin. Your best bet is to wait for a break, retest, reject of pink. So we're in between purple and blue, actually. So maybe a little small wedge between purple and blue. You see it? This wedge here between purple and blue. So this wedge might be telling. This wedge might be telling. All right. See what we got. Let's hope this weak bear cycle comes in. Break the blue. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Right off the purple. Right? Let's see if that happens. Let's see if that happens. Just be patient here. I'm going to step away for a quick second. Don't overtrade this without me. So the tricky part here, right? Because you're looking at the MACD. Is it going to continue to head below the water to maybe target this pink? Or is it going to turn around on you and go above blue? This is why we wait for confirmation. Because we're in between blue and purple. So you don't know if purple's going to take over or if blue's going to take over. So just be patient. You see we have a liquidity wedge right here and right here. So essentially, this is either going to be our head and shoulder. See the shoulder, head, other shoulder. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be our bolt, right? Either one. So we'll know which one's going to happen. We have the purple and the blue to help us. Right? So we're looking for either... It's going to one of these two levels. But again, this is a tight range. If you're not comfortable with trading in this range, then we're in between blue and purple. So there's nothing really to do here. You just gotta wait. Give me a moment. Let me clean up this chart. It looks crazy right now. But I think everyone sees the two options, right? And then with the 5, you want to wait for a break, retest, and reject of the 5. Now, is it possible you just get a candle that all of a sudden drops down here and then cascades down here? That's possible. It may not retest and reject. So the risk of not going in on the break of something is that it's going to, you know, retest, stop you out, and then continue. So in order to prevent that, we wait for the break retest. All right, so we broke purple. Okay. All right, so break of purple, profit, big profit on break of purple. Or you could have used a liquidity box, break a liquidity box. Easy money, easy money. Break of purple, there it is, easy money. From 44.72, right now 44.17. That's an amazing trade right there. This is easy money. You're welcome. I've done my job for the day. I've done my job. The only call out was this purple targeting pink. There it is. Look at all the money we just printed. Look at all the money we just printed. Look at this money. From 644.70 exactly to the target. Perfection. Absolute perfection. Absolute perfection, right to the target. Here we go. Here we go. If you waited for pink, also in profit right now, if you waited for pink. Now, if you want to wait for the retest, you know, you got to figure out what type of trader you are. Do you want to wait for the break, retest, and reject, right? Because here were the options. It was break a purple, down to pink. Now we hit our target. Now, you know, your safest bet is to wait for that. But an amazing day. Look at the money we just printed right here. The only option for a call out, right? It was either purple or blue. Hit the target, take your money. Don't be greedy. We knew this was gonna happen. We knew this was the target. Don't be greedy. I'll be right back. Don't overtrade. All right, I'm back. Let's look for now that the cup closed, let's look for that, okay? Very easy trade. Very simple trade from purple to pink. We knew this was the target. Purple to pink was the target. We already knew that. So for today we want to build in magenta, build in the magenta, build liquidity in magenta, and then break the purple. That's what it looks like for today. Now look, if it's gonna go, so this play is done, right? Unless you're unless you're, you know, unless you know something I don't. If you're betting on this, then I understand why you're holding on this cup and handle. But hold on, let me pay attention really quick. Give me 1 second, I'm just paying attention. Okay. Okay. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I just want to point something out really quick. Does everyone see how we're looking at this inverse mini micro head and shoulders, maybe a shoulder right here, a head right here, another shoulder, and then everything was happening perfect? You see this big momentum candle? This used to make me want to go in on a play because it makes me think that I see something, right? I'm like, okay, shoulder, head, shoulder, this is definitely going to go up. But what I learned is that when you have liquidity built up on a trend like this, you can't, you got to respect it. That's why I always say wait for the break of whatever the thing is. That's why I always say wait for the break of that thing. Okay, now we want to see the microstructure to see if we're going to have enough strength to continue down. So the microstructure needs to look like maybe a head and shoulder or an inverse cup. So we want to look for either this, right? Maybe still along blue. Probably make more sense if it's going to be a cup. But we're so far below the water, this might be a weak bull cycle. We'll know what's going to happen because watch this, look. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. So this is what we want to look out for now, right? Maybe we have a shoulder, a head, and the other shoulder. Not everyone was here yesterday, but now that everyone's here, I'll say what I told Ron yesterday, which was each one of these liquidity boxes is a joint. It's a flexion point. Each one of these is a flexion point. So when it breaks one side or the other, you'll know the direction. So pretty much this is like a very rudimentary support and resistance. So do you see how I drew this right here? So this flexion point is your liquidity box, right? This flexion point is your liquidity box. This flexion point is your liquidity box. And it's also your flexion point for your next move. You see this? Look how perfect this was. Look how perfect. It hit the top, hit the bottom. This is the deep structure we're looking for, right? This is thin structure. This is the deep structure. That's why I draw it the way I do. Because we're looking for deep structure. If it plays out with thin structure, then you know there's nothing we can do about it. It didn't meet the setup requirement. But this is absolutely perfect. Look at this flexion point that I drew. Let me just scoot it over for you so you can see it. Look at that. Look how perfect this is. This doesn't get any better. No one's doing this on the internet. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Not with this level of precision. Look at the money we just printed. Look at the money we printed. There it is. There it is. Look at the money. I told you what would happen. The deep structure I told you we're looking for. It broke purple. Look, here's purple. It broke the purple. There's nothing more I can do. I'm giving you the answers to the test. I probably made that purple wrong too. The purple should be right here. Either way, you would. This is still a winner, right? We had purple here. We had purple here. This is a winner. And look how perfect this is. Look how perfect. This is ideal setups, right? You see how perfect everything played out with our liquidity boxes. Everything played out perfect, exactly to our levels. This is ideal environment. This is the ideal environment. When everything just, you know, you see your liquidity levels and everything plays out the way it should. Just can't overstay your welcome. Get in, get out. You can always get back in if you need to. Take your money. If you know where the money is, right? We knew break of purple was going to be money. Take your money. I'll be right back. Don't overtrade. Okay, I'm back. So basically what you need to understand is this should be our work day for us. Right? We had our entries, our break of purple here. If that's our money we made for the day, then that's what we made for the day. Be happy with that and leave. Don't overstay your welcome. All right, let's see if we form this inverse head and shoulders now. Clean this up just a bit. You see the inverse head and shoulders possibly forming? So it's either going to be one of two things, right? Watch. It's either going to be one of two things. Or maybe three. Either this head and shoulders is going to form like this. You see that? Or it's going to stay in the blue. Like this. Hold on, let me show you. I think I like this one better anyway. And it's going to do this. If we get back above the 5, there's still a chance for rejection up here. So be careful this doesn't do this, right? So this blue holds a lot of liquidity. It looks like blue and purple are controlling our downward descent, right? You see it's building up in magenta, breaks purple, but we're still inside blue. So the blue movement has these two other algorithms in it that's helping us. So we know for sure we're in this blue. Your best bet is calls above blue. So at this point, now that we have deep structure within blue, if we break blue, that lets me know we should have enough strength to get at least to this pink. All right, so remember, it was either we do this, this, and this, right, to stay under the 5 and stay under pink, right? That's one option. Or it's going to do this, and do this. So we just got to see what happens inside blue. Basically what I'm trying to say is blue holds the key for today, for right now. Blue is the key. You got trapped. Where'd you get trapped? There's no trap. Did you get trapped in here? Because there was only one setup, right? It was the break of this purple and the break of this purple. Those are the only setups. Break of purple, break of purple. That was it. Break of green. Where's green? Green isn't a break of anything. It's only the ones that I highlight. Yeah, this green is just showing you the either buying or selling channel. The entries are the highlighted ones. Yeah, green is building. Yeah, the entries are the highlighted ones. So if I put like, for example, I highlighted this 3, that means my confidence that it's going to make money is high confidence. All right, look, so let's see if this shoulder forms inside of, if we stay inside of purple, reject off, excuse me, stay inside of blue, reject off purple, this would be ideal. If we get this motion here, that'd be ideal. But if it just does a little stutter and heads out, that might happen too. But if it does break blue, we got to be protected for a break, retest, reject of blue. So break, retest, reject is probably the most reasonable. All right, let's see what we got. Break of blue. Okay. All right, we're about to close the cup here. So if we close this cup like this, look for the handle to form. Hopefully. Let's see if we retest blue. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the 5 minute, we're still within this range, right? Your safety is break, retest, reject of either pink. Yeah, the pinks was the safeties. If you're trading inside of pink, it's a tight range. You gotta be quick on the draw. Which can you be specific on which minute or which candle you're talking about? So on this cup and handle, yeah, it was called out. Well, either way, I mean, we had purple here, we had purple here. It's the break of purple. So once price breaks purple, you got to be on it, right? So if it breaks blue, you have two options. It breaks purple, retests, rejects, or it breaks purple and continues. So this one, it broke purple and continued. On this one, it broke blue, but we might need a break, retest, and reject, right? So we might be forming this other shoulder here. That's why we want to wait for this. You see how I drew it and how it happened? Damn near exactly perfect how I drew it. If you're asking how did I know ahead of time where, or because you're asking about how did I know to get in early enough. That's just it. That just takes time, right? You have to be comfortable and confident with knowing your strategy and your setup. So if you're just going in off of candles, it can't work. You have to go in off of the entire movement, right? So the price action inside of purple, the price action inside of blue. That's what we need to be paying attention to. Because look, if you think about it, look, the flexion that I drew, look where exactly where it happened, and then the other flexion point, look exactly where it happened. This is almost to the penny, right? And so this is how I'm able to get in ahead of time, because that's why I told you guys to study the cup and handle, so you'll know when it's valid and when it's invalid. So I knew as long as it goes down to this level, still valid, which also was the 5. So break, retest, reject of the 5. Break, retest, reject of the 5. Now hopefully we get back above blue. But our entry was this, off of pink, because we knew this was going to be a range in here today, or at least for the morning. So at this point, we should be looking for our long entries, right? Because we're about to break our blue. Our short entries were down here by purple. And then what we wanted to do for continuation was form another magenta. Like let's say we got down here. We wanted to form another magenta for puts, right? And then break another purple. That's how it should have worked if it was going to continue downwards. This is what we needed to see for downward continuation. Let me get back to the action. Okay, look, here's an example, right? Break a blue. We knew that this was going to happen. We knew this had to retrace, and then break a blue was your entry. Boom. Right? So it broke blue one time. You got to be able to hold for the retracement. Here's the retracement. This is what I always say. If it breaks blue, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to shoot up and you can't do anything about it and you miss the trade, or it's going to break, retest, and reject. So this is a good example of exactly what I'm talking about. If you're going to take the break of blue, two things is going to happen. Now, if you want to wait for the break and retest, that's your safest bet. Just like what's happening right now. Break, retest. This one was the break, retest of the 5. We knew the liquidity is built up here. So if you wanted to wait for your safety entry on blue, nothing wrong with that. And look at the money we're printing. So Ron, if I wasn't clear in the beginning, let me be clear now. The call outs are whenever I highlight, like, so purple's going up. So that means when the price breaks below, we're buying puts on purple. And the opposite so since blue's going down, we're buying calls on blue, on the break of blue. All right, let's see if we can make any money on the break of this pink. All right, protect your trade on break of pink. Protect this trade. If you waited for pink, protect this trade. Look at the money we just printed. Look at the money we just printed. Break of blue. Easy money. Easy money. Look at the money we just printed. Break of blue. Look at the money we just printed. Oh my goodness. Look at this money. Still inside this orange. Look at that money we just printed. Oh my god, look at the money we just printed. I'm gonna go ahead and make our win tally for the day. I'm gonna spend another, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes with you guys. We went pretty good on the day. Spend another few minutes. I'm not gonna sit here and overtrade. We got our green. We're green for the day, so we'll try to keep it like that. But I'll be here another few minutes. Here, Ron, let me explain what I'm talking about. So what I think you're doing is, so for example, if I draw this flexion point here, I think you're going in on the flexion point, which would be the best entry, but you only know that if, right? If blue breaks. So for example, let me give you a real life example. Right here, for example, there was probably a flexion point like this and like this and then like this. So we would like to get on the flexion point because that would be the best entry, but we don't get confirmation until it breaks this highlighted level, right? Because once this highlighted level is broken, that means the micro has happened. I don't know if that's any more clear, but so for example, like what just happened, right? Your best entry on this would be right here, this flexion point. You see where it is right now? This flexion point would be your best entry. So you'll know this is gonna happen, or you could at least get something out of it if you get the deeper structure, right? So we'd like to see this get a little bit deeper and then to give some strength to go up. Now to me, this is a little bit thin structure, but it could be enough to send us up. We'll know if we cross, if this MACD crosses while it's still above the 0 line, then most likely we're gonna have some strength to head up. So then, you know, even though this is thin structure, I'll walk you through the thought process. Let me make sure you're following. You still here following? Yeah, the big retest, there's nothing we can do about. All right, cool. So you're still here following. Now look, I'm gonna walk you through the thought process. So at this point here, you're getting your calls ready because you know blue is our entry, right? Blue's our entry for the day, right? So break a blue for the up, break a blue for the up. So we're seeing if it's going to be break a blue for the up. In order for that to happen, we need to build liquidity downwards. So we want to form like a green. A green would be nice to form, because that'll tell us that we have, you know, deep structure forming if we form a green. And then once we break blue, then we're all right. So here, look. If our thesis is this, watch. If the microstructure is this right here, we think we see a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder. Then on the break of blue, whenever the price breaks blue, you go in. Now this is what you got to look out for. You got to watch that the price doesn't break, retests, and rejects like that. So this is what you're looking out for. So because we haven't broken it, close, you know, with a close above this blue, you're still with no trade. You got to wait for it to close above the blue, right? It hasn't closed yet. So what we like to do is, oh, you know, I think it's going to do this or whatever, you know. So look, now it broke blue. So if you want to go in now, that's on you. Okay, we're above blue. I'm going to go in now. But it didn't close, so this is the risk, right? You're going in before the close. This is the risk. Boom. So let's say you buy your call. You get entered somewhere around here. Now you have to wait. Now what you could do is chase this to get your money. And if it goes against you, you go back in. So technically this closed above. So this is, but like again, this is thin structure, not really ideal, but I'm just giving you an idea of what to look out for. So it broke. Now, since it broke, you got to hold for the retracement. If you want to put your out here underneath this shoulder, that's fine. Or you could put it here. Technically, it should be down here, but either way, you're now that it broke, you need to let it play out. You're hoping that this crosses. If this crosses, then you hold. If it doesn't cross, then you let the trade go. But again, this is thin structure. This is kind of thin. I'd like it to go a little bit deeper to retest this blue. Look, you see how deep it went in green? And then when it got to this blue, it gave it the strength. Even this blue here, it gave it the strength. So technically, you're still above the water. You're still above the water. Technically, this is the scary part. This is why I always say wait for the break, retest, and reject, because you want to protect against this right here. This is what you want to protect against. So if you take this break of green, you got to chase it. So you got two options. Either you're going to hold and wait for this to play out. You know, hopefully it doesn't go below our stop down here. Because remember, you got to stop either here, you can stop out, or down here. It all depends what type of trader you want to be. Because technically, this is the liquidity box. So you won't know if this is going to continue up until we get below this pink. That's why your stop technically has to be here, because this is your liquidity box. So this is either going to form your elbow or the head to the shoulder, like that. So then, like I said, if you took the break of this, you got to hold for the retracement. You got to hold for the retracement. But if you want some confidence or some safety, you wait for the break, retest, and reject. That's, I mean, there's nothing more I can really say, but you know, you'll know once this liquidity level is broken if it goes below this pink or if it goes above wherever I drew this box. See, we're still above the water, so if we get below this box, then you need to start thinking about, all right, this trade isn't working out. But as long as we're above the water and above pink, we still got a chance. I'm not a big fan of this this red candle right here. You still with me, Ron? You still... Do you mean the same color? Always the same color. Okay, so it's not always going to be the same color, right? Let's say I change this color to, doesn't even matter, red. It's whatever when it breaks the down and I highlight it. If it's highlighted, that's the entry. Doesn't matter what the color is. I just use blue so you guys know, oh, okay, we're about to break above the blue. This is my call entry. Or we're about to break below the purple. This is my put entry. So look, let's say you went in on the break of this blue. You have to hold for the retracement. You have to hold for the retracement. Right? There's two options you can do on the break of whatever. Either you wait for the break and retest, or it shoots out without you, but it's only one of two things that's gonna happen. So if you're not comfortable with the cascading, you know, you take the trade and it shoots out and you miss it. If you're not comfortable with missing those trades, then I don't know what to say. It's part of the game. It all depends on your risk tolerance. If you're comfortable with just, you know, if you can hold for the break of pink, then hold for the break of pink. If not, then you know what you got to do, because you're still above the water here. I'll be right back. I'm still here. If you have any questions, I'm still here, Ron. Okay, look. We tested, we wicked. We had one close above, nothing convincing. Like I said, this is thin structure. So you want it to build. So now that it's going sideways, it's building. Now, is it going to pop up or pop down? We don't know because we're still in this box. We're still in this liquidity box. And we're still technically above the water. Hold on, let me see if I can understand what you're saying here. Correct. Yeah. So correct. Technically, your stop needs to be under pink because you'll know that this isn't going to play out, right? So that's why your stop has to be here because you see where the liquidity is. The point is to break out of the liquidity. So if you stop yourself before you break out of it, then there's no way you can know if you're going to win. Ron, are you still here? I just want to point something out to you. All right. That the moves have been so short. Oh, okay. Yeah. The moves are short. That's what I'm telling you. We're in this tight range in between pink. You got to take the money when it presents itself. Take the money because, you know, you have to. Here's what I wanted to say about this. So let's say it breaks right here. Another method you could do is if it breaks here, you put your stop on blue. And then when it breaks blue again, you go in again. This is the 84% rule. So if it, let's say you get in and it stops you out immediately here, you get stopped out for very short. And then when it breaks again, then you can go in again. So look, do you see how the break of blue was your entry? So even if you entered over here, you're in profit. You just had to hold for the retracement. This is what I'm talking about, Ron. It's happening right now, Ron. It's literally happening right now in front of your face. Everything I just said that would happen, happened. Look. Oh wait, I think I erased two things. Okay. Let me just, Jesus Christ, how many bubbles? Even if you had the worst entry possible, you still could have made something. At least broke even. Because you just have to hold for the retracement. Do you see how it... If you just would have stopped yourself out before the proper stop, you just would have lost for no reason. And this is why people get chopped up. It just happened right in front of you. You see how I told you exactly where the liquidity is. Therefore, you technically don't know if the move is over until underneath pink. So if you didn't get it here, you got to hold for the retracement and then know where your stop is. And now that you have the retracement, now you can say, okay, I'm back in profit. I don't like this trade. I can either stop out. Look at the money. There it is. Look, break a blue, right? Break a blue, break a blue. So break a blue is our entry point. You see how every time it breaks blue, it goes up? Breaks blue, went up. Broke blue, went up. Broke blue, went up. You get it now, Ron? Sometimes you just gotta... You can't stop yourself out. And look, because we're above the water, remember I was telling you we're above the water. There's no reason to leave the trade because we're above the water. The breaking back below this liquidity, then I would have been like, the hell with the water, right? I don't care about the water anymore. I'm below my target, therefore I know this trade is not a thing anymore, or not the way I planned it, therefore cut my losses. You know where your next entry is. It's right here on break a blue, or your next entry is break a purple. Either one, it's still going to be purple or blue. So is that a little more clear, Ron? Target 0.22. Correct. Yeah, that would be the next target. Now, if it is that going to happen, I have no idea. But I have nothing else to shoot for except for this price level here, 646.22. Is that guaranteed? I have no idea. But I have to have something to shoot for. I just look for the next level of liquidity to the upside. But this is what I can tell. This is my job or my responsibility to you all, is to show you where money can be made. You have to be able to identify your risk tolerance, right? If you seem like you're able to hold, so you can hold. Sometimes it sounds like you're holding like a champion, and other times it seems like you let yourself get chopped up. So I'm not sure. Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. It's the break of blue. And whenever I say the break of whatever, it's always going to be, your ideal is going to be a break, retest, and reject. That's always going to be the ideal. Yeah, exactly. All those calls would have been huge winners. But there's no way to know, you know? There's no way to know what the market has in store. That's why you take your profits where you can. And it's because I've been robbed so many times that now I know $10, secure profit. If it goes against me and I get stopped out, I can always get back in. But at least I secured $10 for the day. And then now I'll have some cushion on my next play. Oh no, I didn't see the message yesterday. I'll go back and read it. Or maybe I did read it. I'll go back and read it and respond. But look, see, here's a good example of the break, retest, and reject. Here's a good example of it right here. So if you're not comfortable with taking this initial break, here's the ideal entry. Break, retest, and reject. Therefore, you know where your stop is. It's going to be on blue. So you can have a very tight stop if you wait for the break and retest. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what this is textbook what I'm talking about. When I tell you the break of something, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to shoot up like this and just start cascading one after another on top of each other, or it's going to break, retest, and reject. That's what's going to happen. Like 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. Just like this. Exactly what you're seeing right now. And what this is telling me, right? We want to see a break, retest, and reject of this level right here. See this level, this liquidity box? That's what we want to see happen. Still above the water. Still above water. So also, when you're above the water like this on the MACD, there's no reason to fight the trend. There's no reason to fight the trend. Wait till you get below for puts, till you start buying puts. Or a minimum, wait till you get to test this purple before puts. Your put entries are on purple. So you shouldn't be thinking about puts until purple. Your call entries are on break of blue, and take profit when you can. Still above the water, right? Look at your MACD, still above the water. Or even if you wanted to take the break, retest, and reject of pink, right? I'm 100% sure I told everyone about pink. Break, retest, reject the pink. I actually drew it, so it's you got to go back to the 1035 time frame, and I definitely drew this break, retest, reject. And now we want to see if we hit 46.22. Still above the water. No reason to get out of the trade. So remember this liquidity box over here we needed to clear. So now we're starting to clear above that liquidity box. See it? Now we're getting strength above this liquidity box, which means there's probably one up here that we're about to test. Buy the first call and also puts you or so early in. Okay, here we go. We're gonna hope to see if this 22 is gonna be the target. Still above the water. So but this is, you know, sketchy price action. It looks like it doesn't want to give you too much, so don't overstay your welcome. You see these wicks rejecting at the same level every time? Look at this wick, this wick, this wick. They're all rejecting at the same level. That's telling me something. Big rejection at this level right here. All these rejection wicks at this level. Okay. Let's see how much it wants to dump. I knew these rejection wicks were telling me something. I knew these were telling me something. Let's see what happens at purple. Okay, yeah. So if you look at your 5-minute chart, your 5-minute chart also has the path. Let's look at our 30-minute. Oh yeah, this candle right here told us everything we needed to know what was going to happen. I got another few minutes here, then I'm gonna head off. Okay, that's my time. YouTube, you have a good day. If you're interested in learning how to trade like this, send me an email to livespytrading@gmail.com and I'll get you sorted out. Have a good day, YouTube.